Oh boy. Duh. I don't know. I don't like that chapter title. This is the 20th chapter of Calling on Dragons. It's for Gale. Thank you, Gale. Unthank you because of this chapter title. I'm kidding. In which disaster strikes. For a long moment, no one answered. Then Morwen said in a voice that sounded grim even to herself, "The Society of Wizards happened. I just wonder where they've all disappeared to. Good riddance, wherever it is," Scorn said. "What a mess. Maybe they're inside the castle?" Brandel suggested. "No," said a pleasant female voice behind them. "Outside the forest, at least that's what the dragons tell us. Hello, Brandel, it's nice to see you again." Amory! Brandel spun around, kicking up a small cloud of ash, and hugged the slender, red-haired woman standing in back of him. "So Marley passed my message on." "Yes, and we've certainly had an interesting time of it." The red-haired woman smiled over Brandel's shoulder at the rest of the group. "I'm Brandel's cousin Amory. You must be Queen Cimrine and the others King Kazul told us about. She wants to see you right away." "I should hope so," said Trouble. "What's been going on here?" said Cimrine. "Where's Mendenbar?" "Who?" said Amory. "The king of the enchanted forest," Brandel said. "Her husband." "Oh, I'm afraid I don't know anything about him. I think King Kazul does, though." "Then take us to Kazul right away," Cimrine said. Telemaine took hold of Vamish's shoulder. The bald man was trying to slip off again, although there was nowhere to slip off to, and they followed Amory around the castle. As they walked, little eddies of ash followed everyone except Killer. The cats were very unhappy about the way the fine gray particles stuck to them. Trouble even tried to jump onto Killer's back to get out of the dust, having forgotten about the donkey's lack of solidity. Oh. A quarter of the way around the castle, they saw the first few dragons walking purposefully along the boundary between the forest and the ashy area. As they went on, they saw more dragons, some walking, some flying above the trees. A number of red-haired people, presumably more of Brandel's fire witch relatives, were standing guard near the edge of the glow that surrounded the castle. Amory nodded to them in passing and cut across the open area to the forest on the far side. Kazul was just inside the forest, talking with another dragon and two more fire witches. "And now it seems to have stopped growing completely, Your Majesty." The second dragon had a deep, clear voice that carried plainly to the approaching party. Nobody's sure why. "Well, it's a good thing, whatever the reason," Kazul said. "Someone send someone over to—" "Kazul!" Cimrine quickened her pace. "What's been happening? Where's Mendenbar?" "I think he's still in there," Kazul said, nodding at the castle, which was partially visible through the trees. "I see you got the sword. I'm glad something's gone right lately." Trouble and Scorn ran ahead and jumped onto Kazul's back, but Horatio hung back. I'm sorry, they jumped onto Kazul's tail, but Horatio hung back. "Well, if Kazul doesn't care, I don't see why you should." Scorn told him and began to wash the ashes off her back. "You think Mendenbar's in the castle?" Cimrine paled slightly. "Why don't you know? Kazul, stop flapping your wings over it and let the dust settle," Kazul said. "I'll explain in a minute. Marchak, send someone to notify the air patrol about this area, and tell them that if they find any other ashed-out spots, they're to check whether the spots are stable before they report in. Let them know that Cimrine's back, with Mendenbar's sword." "Right away, Your Majesty," said the other dragon. "What is going on?" With a cheerful wave in Cimrine's direction, he walked off. Cimrine took a deep breath. "Kazul, tell me right away, is Mendenbar all right, or—" "Mendenbar is not dead," Morwen said firmly. "Why are you so sure of that?" Kazul asked. "I've lived in the Enchanted Forest for a long time. I was here 4 years ago when the old king, Mendenbar's father, died. Believe me, when a king of the Enchanted Forest dies, the forest makes sure everyone knows it. I didn't get a good night's sleep for a week, and neither did anyone else." Trouble looked up from washing his tail. "Including cats," he said in tones of deep disapproval. "I remember that." "These cats are too much. I'm so glad they're here, but oh my god." "That's good," Kazul said. Then her head turned to look at the castle and the sphere of gold light that surrounded it. "I think." She glanced at Cimrine and sighed. "It was the Society of Wizards." "Of course it was the Society of Wizards," Cimrine said shortly, and Killer backed away from her, ears twitching nervously. "But what exactly did they do?" "Well, when I got here late last night, they had the castle surrounded," Kazul said. "They must have been using their staffs a lot, because there were a good 30 yards of dead forest around the castle already. I thought it would be better to head back to the mountains of Mourning for reinforcements." "I should think so," said Amory. "Even a dragon can't take on the whole Society of Wizards single-handed." "Excuse me, Your Majesty." "We attacked at dawn," Kazul continued. "About 15 minutes after the fight started, that bubble went up around the castle and no one could get in. A couple of wizards came out, but I'm afraid they, got eaten in all the excitement. And no one thought to ask them any questions first, so we don't know what happened inside." "Isn't there some way of finding out?" Cimrine turned to Telemaine. "Can't you adjust your magic mirror your magic mirror spell to get through that bubble? Now that you know it's there, if I could talk to somebody inside." There isn't anybody inside, Your Majesty, said a new voice, and everyone turned to see Willin, the castle steward, standing by the base of a nearby oak. The normally immaculate elf looked awful. His gold lace collar was torn and blackened. His crisp white shirt was wrinkled, dusty, and smeared with ashes. His velvet coat was ripped in several places and was missing most of its buttons. His white silk hose were torn and dirty, and his left shoe had lost its gold heel. Willin, said Cimmerian, sit down. You look exhausted. What happened? How do you know there's no one left in the castle? I should say no one other than His Majesty, Willin said. When he realized that the Society of Wizards intended to attack the castle, he sent the staff away, including me. I wouldn't have left, Your Majesty, only he insisted. You mean Mendenbar was all alone in there when the wizards got here? An unusual strategy, but quite possibly an extremely effective one, Telemaine said thoughtfully. I doubt that anyone but Mendenbar really knows all the passages in that castle, and with everybody else gone, he could use his magic full force without worrying about hurting someone on his own side. Well, it doesn't seem to have worked very well, does it? Cimmerian snapped. Kazul, did you manage to catch Head Wizard Zeminar? Morwen asked. If anyone knows what the Society of Wizards did, he does. Kazul shifted in evident embarrassment. Oh my god! I'm afraid I ate Zeminar myself. I caught up with him coming out of the Caves of Chance just a little while ago, and by then I was so angry. It's a good thing you did, Emery put in. That was what set the rest of them running. Before then, we were barely holding our own. I'm confused, Killer said, and this talk about eating is making me hungry. Somebody explain it all so we can have lunch? You can't have lunch, Trouble said. You're insubstantial. So somebody fix me, and then we can have lunch, Killer said. I'm confused too, Brando said, even if I'm not particularly hungry. Then let us take things in proper order, said Telemaine, for all the world as if we were talking about laying out a new spell. Well, you are the reasonable person to begin. What happened at the castle after we left? Willin glanced at Cimmerian to make sure it was all right to let this unofficial person take charge. When she nodded, he began to speak. At first, the others interrupted him frequently with questions, but Telemaine insisted that answers wait until the whole tale had been told. Once they realized that he meant it, everyone except the cats stopped interrupting. Except the cats, because they're goddamn cats. The first wizards, Willin said, had turned up almost as soon as Cimmerian and her party had left the enchanted forest. Mendenbar had melted them with Telemaine's spell, but they had damaged several sections of the enchanted forest before he caught up with them. Without the sword, he could not repair the harm they'd done, and he'd been very concerned. To help minimize the problem, he'd called in several tribes of elves and asked them to keep watch. The elves could melt some of the wizards with soapy water and lemon juice, Willin said, and if they couldn't get close enough, or if there were too many wizards, they could let the king know right away. Then he'd come and take care of the wizards before they did too much damage. Fortunately, the wizards were well prepared. For once. The following morning, the entire Society of Wizards had appeared outside the castle. Before anyone had realized what was happening, they had destroyed a wide patch of the forest, leaving the elves no way of getting near them with buckets of soapy water. That was when King Mendenbar sent us away, Willin finished sadly. I tried to make him let me stay, I really did, but... I understand, Cimmerian said. You did your best. Did you see what happened outside the castle after you left? Telemaine asked. Some of it. The wizards cleared a 20-foot ring around the castle, and then spent most of the day working some spell. I wasn't close enough to see what. Around the middle of the afternoon, the circle they'd cleared started to expand. Fortunately, it didn't grow very fast, and those of us who were watching had plenty of time to move back. Then, about 10 of them, walked across the main bridge into the castle. That's all I can tell you, I'm afraid. It got harder to see what was going on because I kept having to move back to stay out of sight. Was Head Wizard Zeminar one of the group that went into the castle? Morwen asked. Willin nodded. Turning to Kazul, Telemaine said, So when you got here that night, Zeminar was inside the castle, and the rest of the Society of Wizards were camped in the burned-out area just outside. Right, said Kazul. I called in the rest of my people, and we attacked in the morning. 4 or 5 wizards came out of the castle. The shield spell went up. Wait a minute, said Brandel. Shield spell? That glow around the castle, said Telemaine. The Society of Wizards invented it, and it's really a remarkable piece of work. Nobody can get in or out while it's up, not even a dragon. Remember, Morwen? And they're the only people who can take it down. Not quite, Morwen said. Mendenbar's sword got rid of the last one we ran into. Oh, yes, Cimmerian. How well can you use that sword? I can't use it at all, really, the way you mean, Cimmerian replied. From what Mendenbar said, the sword has to agree to work for you somehow before you can use it for magic, and it'll only do that for the kings of the Enchanted Forest and the direct descendants. I'm a member of the family, so it will let me hold it as a sort of courtesy, but I'm not a direct descendant of any of the kings of the Enchanted Forest, so I can't use its magic. Last, It's probably got a selectivity module in the central linkage generator, and if it's braided to the spell core. Telemain's voice trailed off into muttering. Morwen frowned. The last time they had encountered the Society of Wizards shield spell, the wizards had been using it to hold Kazul prisoner, and if she remembered correctly, she caught Trouble's eye and motioned to him, tilting his head. Of course, cats can go inside. Trouble considered for a moment, then he jumped down from Kazul's back and sauntered over. What is it? Do you think you could get inside the shield spell and around the castle? Morwen asked in a low voice. If the answer was no, she went simmering, getting her hopes up. I don't see why not, Trouble said. Jasper did it last time, and I'm as good at that sort of thing as he is. Morwen didn't bother to ask what sort of thing he was talking about. If it was a cat sort of thing, as was likely, Trouble wouldn't explain it anyway, and questioning him might make him refuse to help at all. I'd like you to go inside and see if you can find out what's happened to Mendenbar. Trouble's ears pricked up in interest. Sounds amusing, he said in a tone that tried to be casual and failed. I'll do it. Like, they always have to be casual, like, oh, I'll just do it, who cares, whatever. As he walked off toward the castle, Morwen hid a smile. Now that he'd realized he could get inside, it would take more than wizards to keep him from satisfying his curiosity. She turned her attention back to the main conversation as Amory said, doing very well when we got here. Kazul snorted. You're being generous. We weren't doing well at all. She looked at Simmering. It's hard to fight when you're having an allergy attack. With all those wizard staff in one place, every dragon for miles was sneezing so hard they could barely see straight. I understand perfectly, Simmering said, and thank you for both trying. Kazul must have heard something in her tone that everyone else missed because she lowered her head almost to the ground so she could look at Simmering eye to eye and said, It will be all right, Simmering. If he's not dead and Morwen says we'd know, then we'd know. Then he's probably perfectly all right. All we have to do is get him out of the castle. And how are we going to do that? Simmering said crossly. The sword is the only thing that can get rid of that shield, and he's the only one who can use the sword. Well, think of something, Kazul said. In the meantime, what are you going to do about him? Brandel asked with a dark look in Vamis' direction. If he's a wizard, I'm sure I can find someone to eat him once you're finished with him, Kazul offered. Everyone can't be full yet. Vamis turned white, making the cat scratches on his head even redder. You can't do this to me. Why not? Morwen said. It's traditional for dragons to eat people, isn't it? Princesses, Vamis said in tones of someone grasping desperately for a straw. It's traditional for dragons to eat princesses, not people. Simmering frowned. Princesses are people. Some of them aren't very sensible, but they're still people. And anyway, dragons don't eat princesses, Kazul said. We never have. I don't know how that silly story ever got started. I'm afraid you're mistaken, madame. Are you correcting a... Vamis said, Rathenmore Quillen says quite clearly in his observations of magical beasts that Rathenmore Quillen was an idiot, Kazul said, and so, it seems, are you. Got it in one, said Scorn. He's as dumb as that rabbit. I'm not, said Killer. Or I'm not dumb, said Killer. I'm hungry. I just thought I'd mention it in case he'd forgotten. Rathenmore Quillen, an idiot. Vamis' outrage got the better of both his terror and his good sense. And he drew himself up stiffly and glared at Kazul. What are you doing? How dare you say such a thing about the greatest scholar of the past 200 years? Who do you think you are? I say it because it's true, Kazul smiled, starting slowly and letting the corners of her mouth draw back further and further until all of her sharp silver teeth were exposed in a fierce grin. And I'm the king of the dragons. Said Vamis, deflating abruptly. Simmering. When you're finished with this fellow, wherever he is, I believe I'd like to see how he tastes, Kazul went on. Unless you want to save him for later, of course. I don't know, said Simmering. He's certainly caused a lot of trouble, but I'm not sure he deserves to be eaten. He hasn't got any manners, Kazul said. That's enough for me, and I could do with some dessert. Could you stop talking about food? Killer said plaintively. So if you haven't got any better ideas, Kazul said. Morwen smiled suddenly. I think perhaps I have one more that's more appropriate. If you'll forego your dessert, Kazul, I'd like to. What's dessert? Said Trouble, strolling into the center of the group. I thought all the wizards were gone. Huh. Oh, and does anyone want to know what I found in the castle, or are you busy with other things right now? I can't deal with this book. Okay. Oh, I get to read the next chapter now.